Hey everyone, I'm back today. I haven't filmed in about 3 weeks and I'm sorry about that. I have honestly just kind of been, I've been healing. I have been emotionally exhausted. I just really haven't been able to bring myself to even sit down and do a video. And it's funny because my husband kept saying like, you need to be filming this, you should be filming this, like you should do a video. And I'm like, honestly, I just can't right now. I just needed kind of like my own time. And I didn't have the resolution that I wanted either. I wanted to kind of be able to, I didn't want to just give 1,000 snippets of what was happening. I wanted to kind of give a bigger picture of it. And so I was always waiting for results, which you'll hear about that in a couple minutes, and why I wasn't able to do that. So I've kind of collected myself. I feel a lot better today, and I'm kind of just able to keep on sharing my story. And I do know how important it is because where I left off last, I was saying how I was going to go ahead and do IVF, and there are so many women who are looking on YouTube, looking for similar stories, and they're looking for information, and I know it's important to share it, especially kind of just what I've been through in the last, I haven't been on in 3 weeks, but I would say in the last 2 weeks what I've been through. So I'm just going to start by saying that we decided to go ahead and do the IVF. I met with my doctor. He prescribed me, they pretty much order all the medicine that you're going to need for the whole process, and then you pick it up all at once. So I'm not going to go ahead and show what I was given. I don't think that that's necessarily super important, and it could differ from person to person, so I don't see the relevance in that. But I will show the bag that it came in. So it's this giant bag, and it was filled to the top, overflowing, and the pharmacist said, "This is all for you." And I was like, oh my gosh, this is all for me. I think most nerve-wracking part of it all is always reading the instructions. The doctors will give you printouts, and you have all this stuff and injections, and you're like, I hope I don't screw this up. I hope I take this properly. So that was like a little bit nerve-wracking, and I think it was a week's worth of doing those injections before we were ready to do the egg retrieval. I was really nervous about the egg retrieval, which is normal. And I only watched one video on YouTube of a girl who was sharing her experience, and she said, she goes, "I'm not super tolerant with pain at all, so if I can do it, you can do it." And I'm like, okay, well, I think I can do that because I'm pretty good when it comes to pain tolerance. So I kind of relaxed, and I'm like, okay, I got this. I don't want to scare anybody. My experience was terrible. I never want to do it again. Even if we had, lots of extra money and I could do 2 IVFs if I needed to, I don't even think I could go back in there and do another egg retrieval knowing what it was. But I will say, I don't want to scare anybody away, like I said. You can't watch a video though and kind of determine how that's going to go for you. It determines from person to person, and that girl's experience, they could have retrieved 5 follicles, they could have retrieved 9 follicles. In my case, I had 31 eggs, and at the end of the day, he retrieved 27 only because he didn't want to keep going and stabbing me, and he knew we had a lot with 27. So I'm just going to kind of break down how all of that works. So before the egg retrieval, I was really, I was kind of anxious to get it over with because you are doing all those injections, you're growing all the follicles, and when he finally told me how many I had 30, I think it was even 31 actually, it was over Easter weekend, and I kept telling everybody that I had more eggs than the Easter Bunny. I felt so full, and I remember reading too that you always look 6 months pregnant when you go through IVF, and I'm like, oh, I don't look that bad yet. It's actually after the egg retrieval that you look 6 months pregnant. It was just uncomfortable. It was hard to walk. I know the day that we were going to the clinic to do the egg retrieval, I wanted my husband to carry me. I literally couldn't even walk. So right away, I was like, let's just do this. Let's get this over with. I gave birth. I can do this. I think they gave me a lot of extra medicine than they usually give people for numbing and just pain relief. But I would say that I definitely still felt the needle go in. And what it is, if you're not familiar, It's a wand ultrasound that goes inside of you, and then there's like a needle that comes out of that, and it pierces through your vaginal wall, I believe, and then it takes out the follicles that hold the eggs. So I have heard cases of women who can remove 50 follicles. They open up the follicles and there's not 50 eggs. There could be like 20 or something like that. I've heard that, some can be empty. And it's also good to know that even if you do have a lot, and those are extreme, like I'm an extreme case. Most of the times they're removing 9 or they're removing 5. And it probably won't hurt as much. You could probably walk out of there. I kind of had a feeling, and I said to my doctor, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be able to walk out of here, am I? And they're like, well, we'll see how you are. No, like, it was at 8 in the morning, the procedure, and I didn't get out of there until 2:30 in the afternoon because I had to just keep sleeping on a bed, and I couldn't leave. But I'll get more into that later. So as they're doing the retrieval, I did feel little pricks of the needle. It was pretty painful, and it was constant because we were retrieving so many. Now this is a good thing in the sense that when you could retrieve a lot of follicles and you can get a lot of eggs, and so people could get excited about that. But what you need to know is they have to then survive getting fertilized. After they get fertilized, they have to make it to a day 5 blastocyst is what it's called. So it has to survive until a day 5. And then that's kind of what you end up with being able to freeze. So I've heard of people being able to freeze 4. I've heard of people not being able to freeze any and just getting 1 fresh embryo and not being able to freeze any, meaning if that doesn't work, you then have to redo your egg collection, do the whole process all over again, which is extremely expensive. So best case scenario, I told my husband Eric, if we could just get 5 in the freezer, I will be so happy with that. The IVF process itself could not have gone better for me. I ended up getting 10 in the freezer, 10 really good quality eggs. And you don't know how good quality your eggs are until they're removed. So that was something I was nervous about. Like maybe that's been my problem this whole time. But I think we've determined that that's not my problem. So I'm really happy about that. It could not have gone better. To get 10 in the freezer, I've never even heard of that. I'm sure it happens. I'm really lucky. I think he said I was like in the 4% or something like that. So, but I would have been happy with 5 too. I still think 5 is great chances. It's really unfortunate when they remove a lot and then those embryos die off and you hardly have anything left to freeze or nothing at all. That would be horrible because I knew as well that I would not, at least for me, I did not want to go through, I would not pay again to have it all and just to do it all over again. I would have just accepted it. So being that I have 10, I definitely have great chances. So I had 10 in the freezer. And then they ended up transferring 1 fresh embryo inside of me on day 3, which I'm just going to back up and then I'll go back to that after. So when we were doing the retrieval, when it was all said and done, like I said, I had to recover until 2:30 in the afternoon, and my husband he was with me in the morning, and then he had to leave on a business trip. And the last thing I remember is I could feel him kissing me all over my face because I had puked in his hands, and they had to give me gravel through an IV. I had thrown up from the medicine that they had given me, I guess, in the high dose. And I was exhausted. So I fell asleep, I passed out on the gravel, and I could feel him kissing me all over my face. And then I had one of my really good friends, I woke up and she was there to pick me up. When she got there, the nurse tried to have me stand and walk to the bathroom. She really wanted me to try to pee, as she knew my bladder was probably full, which I couldn't feel at the time because I was numb. So they tried to sit me up very, very slowly. I didn't even take any steps, but I started to stand up, and then I kind of started backing up towards the bed because I could feel that I was completely going to pass out, and I fainted on my bed. It was okay, and I think the nurse was a little scared, and then the last thing that I heard her say to my friend was, "Oh, she's in a lot of pain." Yes, I was. So then I slept it off. I slept it off some more, and they ended up giving me codeine and giving me some to take home as well, which I lived on every 4 hours to get through the night. And at that point, you look 6 months pregnant. Right below my boobs, like my ribs were hurting. It was kind of like going in for cosmetic surgery with zero reward or something like that. I felt like maybe this is how it would feel if you got your boobs done. I couldn't breathe. I guess just all the poking and prodding in my ovaries, it's like it climbed, and I couldn't sleep on my side that night because I would get like a weird pinched nerve, and it was like hard to take breaths in. It was not fun. I was out for 4 days. I think the recovery is usually around 2 days. I couldn't even drive my daughter down the street to go to preschool. I was out 4 days recovering. And I didn't even know how I was even going to be okay after that 4 days. That's how bad it felt. But on the bright side, you take your codeine. I only took it the first day, and then I found that it was only really relieving my pain for about an hour anyway, so I just stopped taking it after that. And I relied heavily, I will say, on a hot heat bag. That is so important. If you have one of those, that's actually what helped me really get through. Sorry, I'm checking to see if I'm still recording, because that would be terrible if my camera died. But no, we're full battery, we're good. Anyways, realized that I'm talking to myself. That would really suck. So I recovered after the 4 days and just slept with that heat bag. I needed that heat bag. That heat bag was better than the codeine. It was better than anything. And I couldn't lift my daughter for, I think, well, you're not supposed to lift after the actual embryo transfer, but you couldn't lift her then either because you're so sore and kind of messed up. So luckily she's old enough that she can jump in and out of her car seat with my help. So that's that. I won't say anything more on it. I don't want to freak people out. At the end of the day, it's survivable. You can get through it. I've given birth before. Like, you know, you always feel like Wonder Woman after. That's why I say, like, I don't think there's anything better than having kids. You feel so strong. You feel like a warrior. It really, it tests you as a person. Part of the whole sadness of the struggle for me in my situation, because I do already have a daughter, which I know I'm so lucky for, is I enjoy being a mom so much. If I could, I would have 5 kids. I love kids. I love raising her. I loved, you know, even just all the difficulties and no sleep and having her as a little baby and breastfeeding her. Like, I love it. I'm so born to be a mom, and so it is so, there's nothing more painful than the struggle that I have been through going through this fertility journey. But I know a lot of people are in this boat that I am in, and there's nothing wrong with talking about it. And you know, that's exactly why I'm doing this. I couldn't bring myself in those weeks to even sit down and do this. I didn't even want to talk about it, but it really is so important, because somebody who's doing this at the same time as me, you know, hopefully can feel like they're not doing this alone, and can kind of, as I go on and tell you more of what happened, they might get some answers. So anyways, not to be scared off with the egg retrieval. It might not be that bad for you, and it was pretty bad for me, but you know what? Again, totally survivable. Just know that you're not going anywhere anytime soon, and then you're fine. So we actually transferred a fresh embryo on day 3 instead of day 5, and I've always heard that your chances are better on day 5, so I was like, oh, why are we doing this? My doctor is amazing. He's such a good person. I couldn't do this without him. He makes me stronger, and he honestly keeps me going. He's very positive. He's very sweet. He's very caring, but he's also incredibly smart medically, and he knows exactly what he's doing, how to answer my questions. And if you're, you know, it must be somewhat of a burden. He has 5 kids at home, and he is working around the clock. So if I'm a burden to him at all with all my emails, he doesn't let you know. Like, he's really sweet and happy to help you. So happy that I have him. Anyways, so he basically told me that my embryo was, yes, it's a day 3, but it's like a perfect quality embryo, and that he would rather have it inside of me than, you know, in the petri dish. So they transferred it on day 3, and he was very confident about that. So then you wait a week, and then you get your blood test. How many days would it have been? I don't know, like 9 or 10 days after. I went in for my blood test. I didn't think it would be positive. With all the IUIs that I've been through, I'm used to like a lot of disappointment. You know, I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about it. And I did cheat, and of course I took a first response pregnancy test the day before my blood was due. And I know a lot of people that have done this with IVF, and when they are positive, they always get their positive the day before. Well, I did not. So Eric was actually super upset with me because now he goes, well, now, like, you don't know if it's positive or negative, and now you've thrown yourself in this headspace. And he's right, but at the same time, there is a full-on, this is a real thing, a full-on addiction with peeing on a stick. Whether you're going through IUIs or in vitro, if you're struggling and that stick is in the house, I don't know, it's the weirdest thing, but I've read about it. I know I'm not alone. Like, girls cannot help but pee on it and try to get answers. You're always trying to find answers. Anyways, I wasn't feeling too positive. They called me back and they told me that your blood came back positive, but they said it's not as celebratory as we would like it to be. My HCG level, which is your pregnancy hormone, was extremely low. In fact, it was only 15. And they like it between 30 and 60. So they had me come back in 2 days to check the blood work, and they said it could be a late implantation, it could just be your body, or it could be a chemical pregnancy. And what that is, they told me, is the embryo implants, and then something happens to it along the way. It has nothing to do with your body at all. It just stops growing. So it could be something within the chromosomes of the embryo. For whatever reason, nature, it just stops growing and developing. So of course I was really nervous, and when I got the results back 2 days later, they told me it had risen from 15 to 29. So that was really good. I was feeling really positive about it, and I honestly wasn't worried about it. So that was a Thursday, and then they were going to bring me in. They brought me in yesterday, which yesterday was Monday. So from Thursday to Monday, they wanted to see how much it was going to jump and how much it was going to grow. So it should have, it should have just grown a lot, because I know your HCG will go through the roof when you're pregnant, especially after that many days. Don't quote me, but I think it's like it goes into the thousands. It gets very high. And again, I wasn't worried. I was just, all I heard was that positive, and it was the closest that I had come so far. So I was just super happy, and I'm like, I'm just going to think positive, and I mean, totally the right approach. And I found out yesterday that my HCG only went after, 4 days or whatever it was, it only went to 65, which is extremely low. So they told me to stop taking my medication. After the transfer, you do take medication, total vacation from having to stick my stomach with needles. You don't do that. You take estrogen and progesterone. So I was taking a pill, and then I was taking a shot in my backside administered by my husband every night. And there is a cream, so if you're going through it and you're like, well, I don't have that, there is also a cream that you can use, but I chose the injection for other reasons, insurance coverage mainly. Anyways, so you are on that the whole time. They told me to stop that, and that my period would eventually come, and at that point, in May sometime, because we don't know when it's going to come, at that point I will try again, and we will do another transfer. So this time it will be of a day 5 blastocyst from the freezer. And I'm going to, give that shot in May, because my doctor, husband and wife, they take off a good chunk of the summer. I don't know if it's 2 months or 3 months, but they need to go. They totally deserve it. They are there around the clock, and like I said, they have 5 kids. Like, I can't imagine, like, the sacrifice. I have so much love for them, because the sacrifice that they give women is, it's a big sacrifice, and sometimes they have to deal with a lot of shit. They have to deal with a lot of emotions, and not just like emotional women like me, but because I definitely am, but angry women who don't get what they want, and looking for somebody to blame. So anyways, I'm happy that they take off this summer and that they go take time for themselves. So I'm going to be doing one more transfer in May. I'm feeling a lot better today. I'm feeling a lot more positive. I know that I am lucky to even have those 10 in the freezer, and they're all really good quality as well. I think the main thing in my mind is that I'm worried that this chemical pregnancy could happen to me over and over again. I'm scared of that. I don't know how likely it is, or if that's ever happened to anybody, if it's happened to them, you know, back to back. I am really scared of that. I didn't even think I would get a positive. So to kind of get it and then have it taken away, they do say, I think it's 20% more, I want to say likely. I don't think likely is the word, but I was reading an article and it's 20% more prevalent in women doing IVF. And the only reason for that is because when you're doing IVF, they're constantly giving you the blood tests and checking you. So in a person who's trying to do this naturally, they wouldn't even necessarily realize that they were pregnant and then not. Because often what will happen is you'll get a positive either blood test or, you know, pee-stick test. And then it'll go negative because your HCG has gone down, and then it's just not a viable pregnancy. It's not a miscarriage, because I did ask them about that, but I have read in articles that it's considered like kind of like an early miscarriage. So it's got nothing to do with my body. It's the embryo. My body actually did what it was supposed to do, and it took the embryo and it implanted it. Those are all positive things, and it's hard to remain positive. Yesterday I was really, really down. But I always just tell people I need to feel my feelings. I need to feel sorry for myself. I need to feel sad, and then I go to angry, and it's just kind of how I deal with it. It's just been a really long road, and I'm just, you know, I've been waiting so long to be at the end of this road, and to do other things, and it does take up so much of your life, not just the results, but it's the going there constantly and rearranging your life so you can go there, and just everything that you're putting your body through. So anyways, I am feeling better about it. I will update you on my next transfer and how that goes, and I'm just going to be doing fun videos along the way. I am ready to kind of just take the next step that I need to take to do what I have to do to get pregnant, and just clear my head. The sun's shining. We're going into summer soon, thank goodness, and I have my back porch swing all set up. I'm just going to go lay out there and, you know, just relax and just try to be happy, film happy videos. I took well advantage of the Sephora VIB sale, and I hope you did too. And if you got any good goodies, please comment below and tell me what you got. I will do a video of what I got and some of my favorite things. I'm wearing some of them today. And yeah, that's basically it. I just want to do a lot more videos, and I'm sorry that I've been away, but it is a real deal in my life, and it's, you know, it's affecting me, and I'm just ready to distract myself and kind of just feel happy and do what I need to do. I have a lot of things to be happy about, and I'm very blessed, and I have, you know, a lot going for me, and it's okay that I'm struggling. I'm not alone. There's a lot of people, you know, in even worse situations, so... Anyways, I will be doing the Sephora video. I have a bunch of other ones in mind, so I will be doing that one, I think, this week, so look for it, and I will be uploading it. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Please subscribe. It would mean the world to me, and I would love to hear from you. So I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.